I'm Hani, and in this video I would like to talk about one of the books that I have read this year, that is Saffron 2009 by Shaila Abdullah. And for me, it was such an interesting reading because this novel offers a new view on 9/11 trauma by focusing on the experience of Muslim Americans instead of the usual Western perspective. It looks at how Islamophobia continues to affect their daily life using the experience of the characters such as Arisa. So I have five parts of the favorite part of the book, which are all rich in metaphors. The first one is when the Arisa remembers her joke with Faisal, her dead husband, that was just a joke. And he laughed and taken the brush from my hand and marked an A across my chest. Abdullah 2009, page 99. And I think in this sentence, the letter A here refers to the Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. In the novel, A is a symbol of sin and social stigma. Here, the metaphor creates an irony that initially the mark was just a joke between the Arisa and Faisal, but after 9/11 tragedy, the A turned into the tangible marker of the social judgment Arisa experienced. This metaphor signifies the transformation from a symbol of love to a symbol of negative stigma, emphasizing how her personal relationships are now overshadowed by social prejudice after the death of her husband. And in my opinion, this metaphor can be linked to the social identity theory in psychology, where Arisa feels that her identity as a Muslimah is now seen negatively by the society because her religion is associated with the tragedy. And the second quotation, when the Arisa feels the irony after 9/11, the hijab she wears has changed its meaning into something negative. She said that ironically, after losing him, the veil that I had worn since the day we got married had performed the role of that scarlet letter he had marked on my chest. And I think this sentence contains the metaphor of the veil as a scarlet letter, suggests a profound change in the symbolic meaning of the veil that at first Arisa felt symbolized the marriage and religious commitment. However, after the death of her husband, the veil was repurposed as a scarlet letter that carried a negative stigma in the post 9/11 context. And today, Arisa veil is no longer seen as a spiritual symbol, but rather as a sign of prejudice directed at her as a Muslim woman in an American society that is suspicious of her religion. And I think, in my opinion, this sentence can be linked to the theory of Orientalism, in which the veil worn by Arisa functions as a symbol of othering, or the process in which a person from another culture is considered foreign and even threatening by the dominant society. Post 9/11, Arisa experienced the othering of her veil, signifying support for acts of extremism in the eyes of Western society. And this is in line with Said's concept of Orientalism, where Eastern identities and cultures such as Islam are often seen as negative and inferior, and stereotyped as a threat to the West. And the next quotation is that still related to the previous one, Arisa feels that her veil now has a change of meaning in her life. The one that shouted, "Look at me, I follow the same religion as the one who harmed you." I think this phrase contains the metaphor where the veil is portrayed as something that shouted to the society around her about a message that Arisa didn't really want to convey, which is associated with guilt or threat by the society. And I think this text can be related to the theory of Orientalism, where Arisa, as a Muslim, feels that her religious identity, which is supposed to be private, is now a symbol of shots, a message that is stereotyped and ordered to represent a threat or enemy. And Arisa identity is no longer seen as an individual, but as part of a group that associated with dangers and terrorism. And the next quotation is that when Arisa talks about her hijab, which now seems to be a negative thing in her life, which is still related to the previous one, she said that I would have liked to add, "Please don't rush to condemn me, but the veil is only supposed to convey so much." I think in this praise, Arisa hopes that people can understand that her film does not depict her support for violence or extremism, but she realized that it is unable to convey her true identity. And in my opinion, this text can be related to Orientalism, where this metaphor illustrates Risa's frustration in dealing with the Western stereotypes placed on her, but where the veil as a symbol of her religion cannot speak, cannot clarify herself, so she is trapped in an unfair social perception as a Muslimah. And the last quotations is that when Arisa explained that after 9/11, people who wear veil are now associated with the terrorist group involved in 9/11. She said that lately it had transited into another role. The wearer was associated with supporting the acts of attackers. I think this metaphor reveals how Arisa veil has now been repurposed to symbolize her association with the actions of the terrorists of the 9/11 attacks, which was originally a personal and religious choice. And I think this text can be related to the post-colonialism and Orientalism, where Arisa is now labeled and othered because she is considered to represent a group that is suspected or even identified as a threat. Said explained that the other is often viewed with a prejudice, especially after traumatic events involving cultural or religious differences. In this case, is 9/11, and this shows that Arisa is forced to endure an identity that is not her own, and the injustice that she feels because instead of being valued as an individual, she is reduced to a symbol of suspected group. Overall, I think I would give this book around 8 to 10 because I think, like I said before, this novel was such as interesting reading because this novel shows how Islamophobia deeply impacts the minds, identities, and daily life of Muslims, challenging common stories and trauma which are always American focused. And this makes the reader questions common views on trauma and identity, increase our empathy, and suggests that we need to rethink our attitudes towards the Muslim community. So that is my brief review of the book Saffron Dreams by Shaila Abdullah. I hope my review has sparked your interest. Thank you so much for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.